Have you ever wondered if your life has a greater purpose? Are the ups and downs, the joys and pains you've experienced part of a greater plan? What if I told you that maybe God has been preparing you your whole life for something special, something that's about to happen on the 31st of March? Do you feel a tug, a stirring deep inside you? A sense that something big is coming? If you are watching this video, it is not a coincidence. You may have stumbled upon it, but I believe that this is a call from heaven, a sign, a message sent directly to you. The 31st of March is not just another date on the calendar. It is a milestone, a turning point, an opportunity for you to step into your destiny. Think about the hardships you've gone through in your life, the lonely moments, the rejections, the seemingly unbearable pain. Maybe you felt abandoned, forgotten, like you were walking this path alone. But what if I told you that all of that pain, had a purpose? What if it was part of a divine preparation for what's coming on the 31st of March? The 31st of March is more than just a day. It is a threshold, a door opening to another dimension. The veil between the visible and invisible worlds is thinning. The spiritual realm is stirring, and there is a powerful energy spreading throughout the universe. Can you feel it? The restlessness in your spirit, the deep knowing in your soul that something big is coming. The 31st of March will be a day of discernment. It will separate those who are truly walking in spiritual alignment from those who are still spiritually asleep. Which side will you take? Will you be the one to recognize this opportunity, or will you miss it? I encourage you to pay attention to the signs that are appearing in your life right now. Strange dreams, repeating numbers, coincidences, sudden clarity. They could all be messages from heaven, signs that you are being prepared for something big. Heaven is watching, and the enemy is trembling. They know something is happening. They know the elect are rising, and they are trying their best to stop it, but they will not succeed. You have traveled a difficult path, but it was a necessary one. You have been tested, but those tests have refined you. You have been misunderstood, but that misunderstanding has made you stronger. It has all been preparation for your divine appointment. Your enemies, those who doubted you, who mocked you, who abandoned you, will soon witness your supernatural elevation. When the hand of God is at work, nothing can stand in the way. I am speaking directly to the elect right now. If you feel this message resonating in your spirit, if there is something inside you that knows these words are meant for you, then listen closely. Things are about to change. This is a time to wake up. A time to realize the truth about who you are. You are not an ordinary person. You are a chosen one, a called one, a person destined for a greater purpose. The 31st of March will bring revelations, breakthroughs, and divine guidance that cannot be ignored. The chosen ones will recognize it immediately. They will feel a deep stirring in their souls, a knowing that this is their moment. Do not fear. Do not doubt. Trust what you feel. Trust God. He has a plan for you, and it is about to be realized. Prepare for the 31st of March. Pay attention to the signs. Listen to the still small voice in your soul, and get ready to step into your destiny. Let's look back at the story of Moses, an ordinary man with his own fears and doubts. Moses was not raised in the palace by accident. When he was pulled from those reeds as a baby, floating in that basket, heaven was locating a deliverer. His pain, his exile, his stuttering were all preparation for a divine appointment that would liberate an entire nation. David was not ignored by his father and brothers by accident. While tending sheep in the dark, God was forging a king. Even the prophet Samuel could not see what God saw. What people saw was a sign of abandonment, a confirmation of your calling. You did not come to this world to fit in. You came to stand out. You come to change the atmosphere. You come to change destiny. You come to bring divine solutions to the problems that have plagued humanity. The chosen ones experience war differently than others because the enemy does not waste ammunition on those who pose no threat. The intensity of your battles reveals the magnitude of your purpose. The 31st of March is not just another date on your calendar, but another missed opportunity divinely placed before you. Some will read these words and feel nothing. For them, The 31st of March will pass like any other day. But others, the truly chosen, will feel an unmistakable resonance in their spirit, a knowing that transcends logic, a divine confirmation that this message has found them at the right time. The stirring in your heart is not emotion, it is recognition, your spirit recognizing the truth, your destiny acknowledging its moment. If you see the number 333 again for the third time today, it is divine synchronicity, it is God's numerology speaking directly to you. Numbers in the Bible carry deep meaning. 7 represents completion, 12 represents divine rule. The patterns that appear in your life are confirmation from heaven that you are being watched, guided, positioned. There is a reason you can't explain the sudden uneasiness in your spirit. It is your spiritual antennae, detecting the great change that is happening. Noah sensed it before the flood. Moses sensed it before the burning bush. Mary knew something was different when the angel appeared. They all experienced supernatural awareness before the divine appointment. And this is what separates the truly elect from everyone else. While others sleep, you wake. While others deny, you realize. While others continue business as usual, something in you knows that life after the 31st of March will never be the same. Isaiah 43:19 declares, "Behold, I do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Shall you not perceive it?" The Bible does not tell us the exact date of Jesus' return, but it does say that we will recognize the season. What if the 31st of March is the beginning of your personal season of visitation? Your divine appointment, the breakthrough moment that heaven has been preparing for generations. Importantly, not everyone will experience the 31st of March in the same way. Those who are spiritually asleep will see nothing unusual, just another Sunday, just another turn of the calendar. But the elect, those whose spiritual eyes and ears are open, will recognize it immediately. Throughout biblical history, God has established days of discernment, moments when heaven's attention is sharply focused on earth to see who will step up to their calling and who will cower in fear. Think back to the first Passover in Egypt, when the Israelites had to make a decisive choice, smear blood on their doorposts or face death. There was no middle ground, no wait-and-see option, no, "I'll decide tomorrow." Those who acted in faith were spared. Those who hesitated faced dire consequences. The 31st of March will come. Dismiss it as just another day. Those who are still spiritually asleep, hypnotized by distraction, numbed by entertainment, lulled by complacency, will miss this divine opportunity. When they finally awaken, the opportunity will have vanished like morning mist in the summer sun. It is devastating to realize too late that God has reserved the 31st of March as your personal Red Sea moment, your crossing of the Jordan, your breaching of the walls of Jericho. In Matthew 25, Jesus describes the 10 virgins awaiting the bridegroom, the distinction between the righteous and the wicked, between those who serve God and those who do not. During the Exodus, when Moses stretched out his hand, the Red Sea parted, creating a path of deliverance for God's people. But that same sea saved the faithful and destroyed those who pursued them. The same divine power that elevates the elect will also expose those who have resisted God's call. What will the 31st of March reveal about you? Will heaven add your name to the list of those who recognize and step into your divine purpose as you shed the limitations of the past and embrace the glory of your calling? For others, tragically, it will mark the moment when destiny knocked but fear answered. Which will you choose? Listen carefully, chosen one. What you are going through right now, that overwhelming isolation, those bitter disappointments, those endless delays, they are not random. They are not punishment. They are divine preparation. Every chosen vessel in the Bible faced their darkest hour. They cried out to God, "Why now? Why when I finally believed in my calling?" The answer may bring tears to your eyes, but hear me out. The enemy does not waste ammunition on people who pose no threat. When you go through intense spiritual warfare, when relationships suddenly fall apart, when doors unexpectedly close, when confusion clouds your mind, it is because the enemy sees what is coming on the 31st of March. Your breakthrough is so close that hell is trembling. Esther was tested before saving a nation. Jesus faced temptation before beginning his mission. Your present lack is setting the stage for supernatural abundance. The greater the calling, the greater the challenge, the higher the assignment, the deeper the preparation. The 31st of March stands as a sacred checkpoint, a moment when heaven will reveal who has passed the test. Those who surrender to the process, those who believe beyond what they can see, those who remain faithful despite the pain, they will enter their personal promised land, a new season of favor, acceleration, and divine support. God does not crown those who give up in the midst of trial, but he crowns those who stand firm in the face of trial, because that person will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. Your season of trial is not punishment, but preparation for coronation. The question is not whether you are being tested, but whether you are passing. As we move into understanding exactly how to prepare for what God has planned for the 31st of March, remember this: preparation does not come in great fire, but in a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:11-12. The elect understand that divine revelation rarely comes in chaos. It comes in quiet. Are the distractions in your life blocking you from hearing what heaven is desperately trying to tell you? Pause and consider what voices you are prioritizing over the voice of God to protect your spiritual enemies. Not everyone around you wants to see you advance. Some people, even those closest to you, may be unconsciously being used as distractions. Record patterns that only become clear when recorded. Joseph in Genesis recorded and interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, saving a nation from famine. Your journal is more than just paper and ink. It is a divine tool for discerning divine patterns. Write down even what confuses you. Understanding may not come immediately, but when it does, when the 31st of March comes, you will see how every detail has been divinely orchestrated. Pray with strategic intention. Your prayers during this preparation period must move from general to specific. Let go of the wilderness mentality. The Israelites could not receive manna by hoarding yesterday's portion. What are you desperately clinging to that is blocking your progress? Your willingness to let go is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of spiritual strength. It shows that you trust God's future provision more than your present comfort. Ask yourself honestly, what familiar limitations am I more comfortable with than the uncertainty of spiritual advancement? Honor the supernatural. Honor the moments when time seems to stand still, the moments when coincidence surpasses coincidence, the moments when understanding comes without explanation. Find a balance between silence and action. Preparation is not passivity, it is connection. Heaven is watching, the enemy is trembling, and your destiny hangs in the balance. Will you be ready when the divine appointment comes? Something is happening inside you right now. Can you feel it? The subtle vibration under your ribs, the heightened awareness, the sudden clarity that seems to cut through the noise of everyday life. This is no coincidence. This is not imagination. This is your soul's recognition of divine timing. The 31st of March marks the moment when the veil between the visible and invisible worlds thins. Those words are important words that answer the questions you have been silently asking, because God has been preparing you for the 31st of March. Chosen people throughout history have experienced this awakening. Moses at the burning bush, Paul on the road to Damascus, Esther when she realized she was destined for such a time. But let me ask you something more personal. Why do you feel different from those around you? Why do you always feel like there is something more, something greater than you were destined for? The enemy fights the hardest against those who bring the greatest light. Do you feel your heart pounding right now? It's not anxiety, it's your spirit responding to the truth, your soul recognizing its calling. What about that sudden warmth that spreads through your chest when you hear those words? It's not emotion, it's the presence of God confirming what you've always known deep down. You're standing on the edge of the greatest transformation of your life. The 31st of March is not just another Sunday, it's the moment when destiny knocks on your door. Will you become who you were created to be? Those who dare to cross this threshold, those who embrace their divine choice, those who say yes to the call of heaven, will never be the same again. The awakening has begun. Your soul trembles with awareness. This is your moment of decision. Everything that follows will flow from what you choose now. Listen carefully, because what I am about to say is not for everyone's ears. There is a spiritual awakening going on right now. The strange isolation, even when surrounded by others, the feeling that you are aware of things that others simply cannot see, this is no coincidence. You are not of this world, you are bearers of the light code. There is a generation that is rising, not because they are stronger, but because they have suffered enough. They do not need to be proven. They are living proof of the refining fire of God. Make no mistake, you are not merely chosen. You are part of a holy army that was foretold centuries ago. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you." Yet many remain in darkness, unable to perceive the extraordinary change that is occurring around them. The Bible warns us in Hebrews 3:15, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts." The word today has never carried more weight than it does now. Your pain is purposeful, your isolation is deliberate, your battles are necessary. Every tear you shed, every night you cry out wondering if anyone heard your prayers, is all preparation for this precise moment in history. The enemy has made the mistake of underestimating you. You have been preserved from the patterns and priorities that consume others. This is not isolation, this is preservation. The calling on your life transcends your personal comfort. You were never meant to fit in. You were made to stand out, to speak the truth when lies prevail, to stand firm when others compromise. This is the burden and blessing of being chosen. The 31st of March will reveal exactly why God has preserved you through all your trials. The pieces will suddenly align, and you will understand that nothing is by accident. The Bible speaks of such divine appointments in Esther 4:14. Mordecai said to Esther, "Who knows, perhaps you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this." Like Esther, you too have been positioned by the sovereign hand of God for this precise moment in history. What distinguishes an ordinary message from a divine covenant is the response it demands. This is no longer information to be consumed, it is a covenant awaiting your signature. Every word you hear is engraved on your heart, every truth is engraved with its roots. The 31st of March is not just about a date, it is about who you become, because you recognize its significance. The prophet Isaiah writes, "Behold, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth, shall you not perceive it?" Isaiah 43:19. The question hangs in the air, do you perceive it? Can you see past the veil of ordinary things to recognize the extraordinary invitation before you? Every great servant of God reaches a point of no return, a moment when they move from spectators to participants in the sacred story. Moses at the burning bush, Paul on the road to Damascus, Esther when she realized she was positioned for such a time as this. And even now, as you hear these words, you are on the brink of a divine appointment. God does not call those who qualify, He qualifies those who are called. If you are still watching this far, it is no coincidence, your soul has nodded. A new covenant is being formed. The words may not have come from your lips, but heaven has recorded your response. The unseen have witnessed your commitment. On the 31st of March, you did not just hear, you have passed through the door of destiny. There is no turning back. The world around you may continue unchanged, but you will never be the same. The contract has been signed in the courts of heaven. Now listen, whom shall I send? Who will go for us? And I say, here I am, send me. God is asking the same question today, right now, to you. The oath I am about to share is not something to be recited casually. It is a promise binding before heaven and earth. The angels will record it, the demons will tremble before it, your spirit will forever be marked by it. Stand before the mirror tonight. Look into your eyes, the windows of your soul, into which God has breathed His life. Place your hand on your heart and say these words with conviction. Lord, I surrender to your will. I renounce the fears, the doubts, the limitations that have held me back. I no longer live for human opinions, but for your divine calling. I no longer seek comfort, but obedience. I no longer fear the darkness, but embrace your light. I no longer seek approval, but seek your presence. I no longer live for myself, but for you, for your kingdom, for your glory. Here I am, send me. This is the moment when, like Jesus, you say, "Not my will, but yours be done." For so long you have felt a stirring in your spirit, a knowing that you were made for more than mere existence. You feel called to something greater, something eternal, something beyond the ordinary. But fear has held you back, comfort has imprisoned you, the opinions of others have silenced the voice of God within you. But Jeremiah, the 29th of December, lays, "Your word is in my heart like a fire imprisoned in my bones." You are that fire, a fire that will spread like wildfire across a spiritually barren landscape. Remember Moses before the burning bush. He made excuses, he doubted, he hesitated. But when he finally surrendered, God used him to set an entire nation free. What nation is waiting for your surrender? What people group needs your obedience? What spiritual prisoners will find freedom because you finally said yes to God? The oath is waiting for your voice. The mirror is waiting for your presence. Heaven is waiting for your surrender. The 31st of March stands before you, not in a mighty wind, not in an earthquake, not in a fire, but in a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12 reveals this profound truth. God often speaks in whispers that only those who pay attention can hear. Are you listening? Are you preparing your heart? Many will miss this moment because they are too distracted by the noise of this world, too consumed by trivial matters, too afraid to believe that God might actually be calling them specifically. But not you. You know better. You have suffered too much. You have been tested too severely for this to be a mere coincidence. This is your last invitation before the door closes. What if your whole life, every hardship, every tear, every moment of feeling misunderstood, was all a preparation for this exact moment? The Book of Esther tells of a young woman who was positioned for a time like this. Her uncle Mordecai warned her with these haunting words, "If you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will come from somewhere else, but you and your father's family will perish." Who knows? Perhaps you have come to the kingdom for a time like this. Do you feel a stirring in your spirit right now? Do you feel an inexplicable urge to share this message? It is God confirming that you are positioning yourself for what is about to happen on the 31st of March. Then share this video immediately. There are others in your circle, family members, friends, co-workers, who are also chosen but are still spiritually asleep. They need to be awakened before the 31st of March arrives. You may be the one God can use to reach them. The Bible tells us in Romans 13:11, "And do this, understanding the present time, that the hour has come for you to awake from sleep, for our salvation is nearer now than when we believed." Preparation is more than just spiritual statements. It's a transformation of mind and action. It starts with how you treat the cashier at your local grocery store, how you respond to that difficult family member, and the thoughts you harbor when no one is watching. Truly chosen people manifest their choices through consistent kindness, not just spiritual statements. Consider taking 15 minutes each morning this week to create space for clarity. Turn off your phone, silence the news, and just listen. The divine rarely shouts above the noise of our busy lives, it whispers. Do you know that your presence here, at this particular moment in history, is no coincidence? God has positioned you exactly where you need to be, with exactly the experiences you need to develop the strength, wisdom, and character your purpose requires. Dear friend, please know that you are not alone on this journey. Even when the path seems darkest, when doubts cloud your mind, when it seems like no one understands, God is steadfastly by your side. As Isaiah 41:10 promises, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." Father, we thank you for calling us, for choosing us for such a time as this. We pray that you will give us clarity to recognize the signs you are placing in our path. Please remind them that you have engraved their names on the palms of your hands. For those who are struggling with doubt, strengthen their faith with unmistakable confirmation. For those who are weary in waiting, renew their eagle-like strength. Father, As the 31st of March approaches, prepare their hearts to receive whatever you have planned for this divine appointment. Open their spiritual eyes to see the signs you are placing in their path. Give them the courage to walk through the doors you open and the wisdom to recognize your presence. Your presence here is not by chance, but by divine appointment. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so now, so that we can continue this journey together. God has so much to reveal in the days ahead, and I do not want you to miss a single word of encouragement He has for you. Until next time, may you walk in the fullness of your divine calling, embracing both the preparation and the promise with unwavering faith. Please call for contributions. This content is a service to the kingdom, and we rely on your support to continue sharing this message with the world.